Ready? Ready.
What's up, guys? It's PIHCAM with HuddleGG, and welcome back to another episode of Ask Huddle. If you guys are new here, this is a series that we do each week where we answer your guys' questions. So if you have a question you'd like answered in a future video, wherever you're watching this, just make sure you leave that question in the comment section below, and we will do our very best to get to it. If you don't see it in a future video, you can always join our free Discord by going to HuddleGG/Discord, and you can ask us in there as well. But again, really appreciate you being here. But let's dive into this week's episode. And the first question comes from Goon, and they ask, what does untarget defender mean and how does it work? Now, this is a great question, and it's something that I've mentioned in previous videos when talking about how to pick up specific blitzes. But we never really talked about what the mechanic is. And again, this is something that is new to Madden 26. And to me, one of my favorite additions they've had in recent years. So what it's going to do essentially is tell our offensive line or running back, tight end, whoever's blocking on the play, who we want them to avoid and not block. Okay, so again, we've had ID the mic in the past. Obviously, you can slide your line and different things to pick up the players you do want them to block. But untarget defender is something where we're telling our offensive line, hey, avoid this player. And we're going to show you when this can be the most effective to use. But first, there are two ways to bring up the untarget defender mechanic. The first is going to be to push left bumper to bring up your entire pass protection menu. And then from there, you'll just push Y for untarget defender. And then you'll see a flame icon above a player, and you can move this flame icon around, and you can put it on whatever player you want your offensive line to avoid when blocking. Okay, so let's say that we want them to avoid this right of screen middle linebacker. Now, one thing I will say is when you look at your blocking play art, you'll see that they're still blocking that guy. Sometimes you do need to make an adjustment to your pass protection from there. So again, let's say that we just want to go to an empty protection or a base protection. You can see that once we do that, it's now avoiding that right of screen middle linebacker. Okay, and from there, once we do this, if we half slide right, half slide left, full slide right, full slide, it doesn't matter what we do with our blocking, you're going to see that they continually avoid that right of screen middle linebacker, and they are not going to block him on the play. Okay, so if I reset everything here, what you're going to see is the other way that we can bring this up, and this is going to be a quick option where you don't need to bring up your entire pass protection menu, but if you just flick your right stick up, so right now we're just snap, if we just flick our right stick up, you're going to see that it brings up the untarget defender mechanic, and then we can do the same thing where we put that flame icon on the player that we want our offensive line to avoid, and then we would just push A from there, and again, we're going to get the same thing that we would if we were doing it from the normal pass protection menu. Now, when it comes to when this can be most effective is when the user starts to mug the gap, and we know that they're just trying to confuse the offensive line, confuse our running back, and we want to make sure that our offensive line doesn't get confused and still picks up the blitz appropriately. Let's say that they are sending this player here, the right of screen middle linebacker, and they're using this player, and they're bringing him down here again to try to confuse that offensive line. All we need to do now is untarget that player, and then we can maybe half slide one way to make sure that we pick up the players that we want. Again, you can see here, when we half slide or when we go empty or base, whatever we do here, you're going to see that they continually avoid that player we've told them to untarget. And that's going to make it where that player cannot confuse our offensive line anymore. And now we're forcing the user to blitz if they want to get the pressure. Okay. Now, in previous years, this was a lot harder to block because we'd actually have to block more than they were sending. Because again, we couldn't tell our offensive line, hey, we know this guy's not blitzing, so you can avoid this guy and pick up everyone else. We didn't have that feature in previous years. Again, this was a really, really good add. Again, what you're going to see is even though that player, again, that user is right in the A gap, right in between the center and the guard, if we tell our offensive line, hey, we're not worried about him, we don't think he's actually blitzing, and we go to say hike here, you're going to see our offensive line pick up that blitz well. Obviously, you're still going to deal with sheds. You can't do anything about those really, but what you want to do, make sure you have a route combo set up to attack the coverage. But I wanted to show you here how our offensive line doesn't get confused by that user. You see how the center immediately goes to the right side? Okay, and then again, they pick everybody up here on the play. Obviously, our left tackle just gets beat with a spin move there. Again, not something you can always avoid. Again, it's just a matchup battle there in the trenches. But what you're going to see is if we would do that same thing on the defensive side of the ball and we don't untarget this player, so again, they're blitzing that right of screen player, and they're bringing this guy down. What you'll see is if we look at our blocking assignments, they are going to target that user to start. Now, they still will try to recover, but there are times where they would not be able to recover. Okay, so the smart thing to do is always just untarget the player that you know is not blitzing, and then set up your protection from there, whether you want a half side, whether you just want to go to an empty protection, whatever type of protection you want to go to pick up the rest of the threats on the field. That's all you need to do. And then we'll say hike from there, and you'll see that they'll pick everybody up. And that's going to give us the time that we need to throw the ball and obviously get those big chunk plays down the field. Our next question today comes from Stonewall, and they ask, how do you stop the wheel routes out of gun tight formations? Now, these are pretty popular right now in attacking different types of zones that people are running, whether it be cover 3, cover 4, waiting for it to get over a cloud flat in cover 2. And we're going to be running the one out of tight doubles here, cross wheels. This is a pretty popular one that you'll see. But again, this is going to be something that will apply to a lot of different wheel routes you see from receivers in these gun tight formations. Now, when we come out in a defensive play, you can really call any play that you want. We're just going to start out in a Tampa 2 because it's going to be the easiest for us to show what we are trying to accomplish here. And what we want to do is, if they're running this wheel over here to the left, you'll see a lot of times they'll run it to the short side. They'll put a streak here to the inside receiver to try to get the attention of the deep zones, again, to free up that X down the sideline. All we need to do is we need to put the outside corner on a soft squat, and we're going to man up the inside receiver, just like that. Okay, that's all you need to do to the left side of the field. Now what you're going to see is obviously the guy manned up is going to follow the streak, but most importantly, the soft squat is going to play perfectly on that wheel. He's not going to allow them to throw it early, and he's also going to follow and match that all the way down the field, so they cannot throw it late either. Again, if we're throwing something like a cloud flat out there, they could just wait for him to get over top of the cloud flat. If it's a cover 3 or a cover 4, outside third, outside quarter, a lot of times he'll sink to the middle, which opens up that whole shot, or that shot down the sideline to the left side after he gets over the flat defender. But here with the soft squat, we don't have to worry about that. Again, what you're going to see is when they go to say hike, you're going to see that outside corner plays it well. He's going to be in good position here, whatever they do. And he's going to be, obviously, you can click on, you can make a pick there if you want. But if you don't, they'll get that swat there for you. But if we look at the replay here, you're going to see that they can't throw this early because he's going to come down on this, right, to start the play. And then he's going to transition and match this all the way down the field. And he's going to be in good position here to take this away. Again, really, really simple setup, because again, you could do this out of anything really. If you wanted to do it out of a different play. Right, so let's say we're in cover 3 sky. I wouldn't recommend doing it in cover 3 sky because we don't have the safety over the top, but you can. I'll show you here. If you did it like this, again, we're just going to soft squat the outside corner, man up the inside guy there. If they go to run this same route combo that we just showed, you're going to see that, again, they're going to match appropriately. That player is not going to be open. Our corner is going to be there and be able to make a play. Now, the reason why I like starting out in cover 2, obviously, if we look at the replay here, we don't have any safety help over the top if we start out in a cover 3. And if they would run a different type of route combination, this guy could obviously get open over the top. So we just want to avoid that and be a little bit safer. So again, that's why I like starting out in a Tampa 2 defense, or having that deep half over the field. Worst case scenario, have an inside quarter over there from your safety. So if you would start out in a cover 4, that would be better. I would just not do this from a cover 3. I just wanted to show you that if we were in a cover 3 defense, this would still work. So I just want to, again, point out that you can do this out of really any play that you want. And again, all we're doing, manning up the inside guy, and then the guy that's running the wheel is going to be taken care of by that soft squat there. Again, one more time, just to show you the consistency. If they go to run this over there, you're going to see that this wheel route is taken away. They cannot throw that, and our DB is going to be in perfect position to make a play on that ball. Our next question today comes from Drib, and they ask, how do you like to stop custom stem corner routes from bunch? Now, this is a great question and something that you will be facing if you're playing online at all. It's one of the more popular route combinations. And what you'll see people do is set up something like this to the bunch side, where they're going to go with that corner route, stem down all the way, a slot fade, and then a streak. They're looking to have 2 vertical routes to attack if you're running something like a cover 2. What they're looking to hit is that B on that quick little corner route to the sideline. Whether your flat defender doesn't get outside leverage, they're just going to throw it really quick. Or if he does get outside leverage, then they're just going to wait for him to clear over the top. And it's going to look something like this, where again, they're just waiting for that guy to clear over the top, and he's going to be open right there on the sideline. They're going to be able to get that easy completion. And this is a really frustrating route to deal with. And it can be annoying if you don't know how to stop it. And to be honest, there's quite a few ways for us to stop this play. You can use curl flats if you custom stem them up or bring them out a step or 2. You can use cloud flats in a similar manner. But I'm going to show you one of my favorite ways to stop this using match coverage. Okay, so we're going to come out on the same play on offense. On the defense side of the ball, we want to come out in a cover 9. Okay, now you do want to make sure that auto flip is on because you want that cover 2 side of the cover 9 to be playing to the bunch side. Now, I like to use the cover 2 shell as well by using the right stick to go, again, to cover 2. Now, this specific cover 9 that I am using out of nickel 2-4 is a cover 9 show 2, so it would already have a cover 2 shell behind it. But again, if you want to make sure, just put that cover 2 shell on. But when we come out in this play, what you're going to see is the reason why I like the cover 2 shell to start with is I like this guy to have outside leverage and be about 5 yards off the ball from that outside receiver who's running that corner route. Now, something that I like to do as well, if I have extra time, is I'll actually move this guy out a couple of steps. So he's about, again, 5 yards off the ball and about 3 to 4 yards outside of the outside receiver there. Okay. Now, if we set up that same route combo that we did on the previous play, where we are going to go custom stem corner, the slot fade, and the streak, you're going to see we don't actually have to make any adjustment for our defense to play this well. Okay, so if they go to say hike, you're going to see that they take care of this on their own. We don't have to do anything, and that soft squat is going to be in a perfect position to take away that corner route. And you're going to see in the replay that the custom stem corner is taken away, as well as the slot fade on this. Okay, so if we look at this, you're going to see again the soft squat does a really good job of covering this this corner route to the outside. But here in the slot, you're going to see that the slot fade is going to be trailed by our vert hook, and then we have help over the top as well. So we have this bracketed, and then you're going to see here that the 3-rec is going to trail the tight end, and then we'll have the safety over the top as well. So again, this is going to essentially be bracketed. Also, one thing that I will do at times, if I have the extra time before the snap, is I will man up the 3-rec or that right of screen middle linebacker to the tight end. Okay, just to make him play a little bit better, because you could see in this previous rep here, he does trail, but he's quite a ways behind this tight end, right? You're gonna see that he gets beat. I mean, this is technically a trail, but you can see he's about 3 yards behind the receiver, where here is what we really want if we're playing more of a trail technique, where he's about 1 yard behind that receiver, half a yard to 1 yard. This is a little bit too much space for me. So again, I do man up that 3-rec to the tight end at times if they're running this route combo over and over. But the key again is just having this cover 2 of the cover 9 to the bunch side. You're going to see the vert hook and the soft squat do a really good job of matching the corner route and the slot fade. And this is going to take this route combo away from your opponent. And again, what you'll notice is a lot of people who rely on these things to get yardage, they start to panic. You start to get them out of their game, and you're going to start to get more stops and more turnovers because you're able to take away their #1 play. Our last question today comes from World Beater, and they ask, is there any way to see your blocking assignments in the run game? Now, unfortunately, in Madden, you cannot see the specific blocking assignments when you are running the ball. That is something that is in college football. So you see if we come out here in a run play and we push left bumper to see our blocking, again, that's simply for our pass protection. And there's no coach cam or show play art that you're going to see where it's actually going to show us who the offensive line is blocking. So it's just important to understand who they will block based off the formation of the defense and the run call that you are making on the offensive side of the ball. So for instance, if you are running an inside zone, you need to understand that your line is going to naturally double team the D tackle who's in the A gap. Okay, so if they're aligned like this, they're going to double team that defensive tackle in the left A gap. You're going to see there, they double team him and they would work their way up to the next level. If they would come out in a different alignment where they shifted their line and now this player's in the A gap, what you're going to see is if we run that same exact call, now the center and right guard are going to double team because again, that's the player that's in the A gap. Okay. So again, that's just an example, something like inside zone, understanding that your D tackle or the D tackle that's in the A gap is going to be the one that's double teamed with the center and the guard to that side. And then they will single block the other defensive tackle there in a 4-down lineman set like this. Now, the one thing that you can do when you are running the ball is you can untarget a defender as well. So if we look at the replay here on that last inside zone, you're going to see that the right tackle blocks this backside defensive end or this backside edge rusher. Okay, so again, you see there that right tackle, he is going to go and target that right of screen player. If we untarget that player, which you do the same exact way as if you were pass blocking, so you can either flick the right stick up or bring up the whole pass protection menu. But if we untarget that player, you're going to see that the right tackle is now going to work his way to another double team and work his way to that second level. So this is something that you can utilize, especially if you know this backside edge defender is not a very quick player. Now, if they had someone like Micah Parsons here, like I do, I probably wouldn't untarget that player a lot. but you can see it does get another double team here on the play, where we're actually able to double team both players. And again, this wasn't because we used the double team mechanic, it's because we untargeted the backside edge rusher, and that just gave us another +1 here in the box to make these blocks. Again, I do want to say, I say this every year, IDing the mic, sliding your line, that does not change anything in the run game. Okay, so if you are sliding your line, IDing the mic, thinking it's changing anything in the run game, it is not changing a single thing unless you are running a draw play, because there are pass blocking assignments on a draw play. So you can slide on those. But again, on an inside zone like this, you're going to see if I try to double team this backside defensive end and I don't do anything with untargeting defenders or anything like that. Again, just double team that defensive tackle. Defensive tackle in the B gap to the right side of the screen. You're going to see they're still going to single block him, because again, we talked about an inside zone, the B gap defensive tackle is going to be single blocked. So again, whether we double team him or not, it's not going to actually change what our line's doing. You can half slide, you can full slide your line, any of that, it's not going to change anything in the run game. So again, unfortunately, in terms of targeting or in terms of the actual assignments and seeing them on the field, you cannot do that in Madden on run plays. You can do it on pass plays by just holding left bumper, and you can see here you have the assignments. But again, hopefully it's something that they could add in the future, but right now that is not something available to us. Again, the only thing you can really do in the run game when it comes to your protection or your blocking is you can untarget a defender and tell your offensive line who you want them to not block on the play. And if you guys are looking to get even better at Madden, make sure to join our free Discord by going to HuddleGG/Discord.